What I have right here is, of course, Helios Volcano, one of the protagonist Beyblades in Beyblade Burst Sparking, arguably one of the best stock Beyblades in Beyblade Burst Sparking. But what if I told you guys there's a way to not only disable its limit break, which more or less kind of works like that, a spring attack of sorts. But what if there's a way to disable this while also improving its performance? That's what we're going to do today. But before we get to that, make sure you guys hit that like button and hit the notification bell if you have not already. I would greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and break down what this mod will be. The first thing you'll need will be a tri-wing screwdriver. Now, this is a very special screwdriver in that the head is actually a triangle. And this will be to take apart the layer. Next up, we'll need some metal balls or bearings. Now, they do have to be a specific size, keep that in mind. They are a little bit larger than your ordinary balls. Now, I'm not sure how many we'll need, so I just gathered a few, put them in this box, and that's just about it. It's a very straightforward mod, but what the end result, or what we're trying to do, is disable the limit break and improve its performance. And I'll show you exactly how that's going to work. Now, our focus here will be not in the disc or the driver, but the layer itself, and not including the chip, I should say. So, of course, the gimmick in this layer lies here because of the limit break system. As you guys can see, there's this extra notch that when the disc pushes it in, it performs its limit break. Now, that's cool and all, but it's not really that practical, at least in my opinion. Now, what you guys can see here is there are four tri-wing screws. That's where the screwdriver comes into play. Let's go ahead and take those out. Now, be very careful, try not to apply too much pressure as these screws will strip. Alright, now it's a good idea to keep track of these screws as they may get lost. Okay, now that you've taken these screws out, the layer will come apart. And it comes apart in multiple pieces. In fact, there are about 5 pieces if you count these extra bits. Now, it's always important to keep track of where everything goes. This is a reversible mod, by the way. But as you guys can see, there are a total of 2 springs. One is a very large double-ended or double ring spring. This is actually very important for the limit break, but since we're disabling it, we don't need it. So just put that to the side. Now, if you guys don't notice though, there's an additional spring, and this spring is a lot smaller than the last. So this basically keeps the layer locked in place, but we also don't need that. So put it away. Now, what we're left with are really just about 3 pieces. So this is where the metal balls come into play. Essentially, you guys can see, there's quite a bit of open space now that we've taken out the spring in this kind of ring. This is the bottom ring of the layer. Now, we can fill this space with the metal balls. That's exactly what we're going to do. So here's one for example. It does roll quite freely. Now, after putting the metal balls, this is what it should look like. Now, I was able to fit quite a few. I'm not exactly sure how many I have. I would say about 14 in total. You might be able to get away with fitting in more. Now, there is one small thing we have to look out for. These metal balls do stick up quite a bit from the side, and our goal is to place this middle ring and kind of let it sit right on top. Now it's not going to be a perfect fit, these metal balls do kind of get in the way. But our goal is to forcibly put the top piece and line it up. And sandwiching this all together, because at this point it's pretty much full of metal balls. So what we want to do is put it all together as carefully as we can and put the screws back inside. Now, putting the screws back inside carefully, you can actually make this layer close. In fact, now it's pretty much sealed shut. Now, is this a perfect fit? Not quite, and that's because these metal balls are kind of bulging quite a bit, but it will do. This is the end result. Granted, now with these metal balls, we can kind of see though that they are kind of spread out on one side. Now what this will do is more or less an effect similar to hollow disc scyther, where one side is heavier than the other, and that will result in an unbalanced layer. However, we also should take into account the weight that will be added by these metal balls. So let's go ahead and weigh this after we put it back together. So I'm just going to keep it in its stock form, because I find that to be a really good combo nonetheless. So place that. And as you guys can see, it works like normal. And here we go. It looks like an ordinary Helios Volcano, but of course it's modded. Pretty cool. All right, let me go ahead and get my scale and I will show you guys how much it weighs. All right, you guys, so it would have made more sense to weigh it before I modified it, but we're already here. So let's go ahead and compare it with some other Beyblades I had. So first off, we have Lucifer the End, stock, 69.69. Next, we have Infinite Achilles with Infinite Sword, 64.33. Lastly, Death Diabolos, stock, 56.23. So quite a bit of a range of Beyblades. But check this out, we have Helios Volcano, our modified version, of course. Let's weigh it. 77.28. Now that is heavier than all three of these Beyblades, and that is likely due to not only the metal chip, or the metal chip core and the sparking chip, but the metal balls that are inside. So quite a heavy modification, if I do say so myself. Now the question is, will it launch? Will it perform? We're about to find out. Like always, I do want to start off with a test launch, so 3, 2, 1, go shoot. As you guys can see, it's very much unbalanced. Now, is this an upgrade or a good modification? We're about to find out. Alright, there you have it. This is it for this Beyblade mod. I have to say this mod was very interesting to say the least. If anything, it acted more like a left spin hollow Death Scyther, if that makes sense. It was just really unbalanced and just an overall wacky mod to use, but it did get some wins. So is this a really good mod? I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comment section below. But that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys in the next one.